If you're not showing up in AI tools, then you're missing out on a whole new layer of customers that are searching for your product and missing out on making more money with your e-commerce store. And Shopify updated their terms a couple months ago to show that your product data is now fed directly into some of these tools. So in this video, I want to just show you how you can get your brand to show up in AI search, just like we've done for this brand here. In the last 90 days alone from ChatGPT, they've made $21,000. And we're getting more and more mentions for all these different brands in ChatGPT, AI overviews, all the other LLMs. So I'm going to show you how you can do that for your brand in this video here. So let's jump straight in. So as I said, ChatGPT sent out an email recently saying that you can shop directly within ChatGPT. It helps you browse, compare, refine options all in one place. And customers are now doing this. It's not as big as Google, obviously, but customers are doing this more and more now, where they are going to ChatGPT and other LLMs to do their product searching. And so if you're not showing up there, you're missing out on this whole new range of buyers. And so what it can do is it finds products for you. And so you describe the product that you want, and then it obviously gives you matches for that. If you upload a photo, then it can show similar products to the product that you've uploaded, if that makes sense. Compare side by side, so research reviews, specs, and other options in one place without switching tabs. So rather than having to go to multiple websites, you can just ask ChatGPT, what do you reckon of all these different types of running shoes or whatever it may be? And as I said, in May of 2026, or it might have even been earlier, Shopify feeds merchant product data directly into AI channels now via agentic storefronts. And so this data that your Shopify store has is now being fed straight into these tools, which is helping some brands show up in AI search tools or AI LLMs, whatever you want to call it. So why this matters for e-commerce stores right now is because AI is not just scraping information from the internet anymore. It's pulling structured data directly from your Shopify store. So you need to make sure that you're setting all these things up correctly. And so what this means is that brands that show up in ChatGPT recommendations can capture an entirely new channel of buyers, and brands that are not showing up are invisible to those buyers, obviously. And so most brands are not paying attention to this, and the ones that are going to be the ones that will grow over the next few months, but continue to grow over the next few years as well. Because this is obviously very early, like ChatGPT, LLMs, they're not taking over Google anytime soon. But if you get onto this early, you can build up, as I showed up here, stores are already making money from ChatGPT, and that's just going to continue to grow as these tools get more and more popular. And so traditional SEO and AI search, or AEO, GEO, whatever you want to call it, they're closer than you might think. So the first thing you need to understand is that AI search is not necessarily separate from traditional SEO. You don't need to do necessarily two tactics, two strategies here. The same fundamentals that get you ranking in Google are going to also get you referenced in AI tools. And so ultimately, good content will still win. If you have good quality content, clean product data, quality backlinks, and so forth, that's going to win. And so really the same work that ranks you in Google is going to get you ranking in ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, whatever you use. So there's no real worry, or no real need to worry about doing AEO and or SEO. It's essentially the same thing. So there are a few things that ChatGPT and AI looks for on your product pages or on your data to help you get recommended in their LLMs. And so these are the main things here: strong product schema, so making sure you have strong and clean data. An authoritative domain obviously helps. Fresh content as well. If you just have content that you've been sitting there and dormant for a couple of years, that's not going to be as relevant to ChatGPT these days. Keyword relevance, obviously, and then top of funnel mentions. So this is a big one here. Having strong mentions in authoritative blogs, listicles, and product roundups across the web, so not on your website, but actually getting backlinks and getting mentions on other websites is going to be a big driver for AI recommendations. So if you've been doing SEO properly, then you're already probably doing most of this. And so again, that's where it's not necessarily a new thing that you have to do. It's all kind of part of SEO. But yeah, top of funnel mentions is the one that I think is really kind of pushing all these other brands to getting more recommendations in AI. Now, there are a few things that you can do on your actual product pages to make sure that your listings and your data is complete and clean enough that AI can understand it and also make sure it recommends it. And so Shopify is rolling out this kind of listing completeness score thing. It's in your agentic commerce kind of back-end tab thing that now is showing up. And so these are the things that it's looking for. First of all, it wants a unique description. So too many stores that I've worked on or that I've seen have copy and pasted all their product descriptions. Maybe they take out one or two words, and I understand that when you've got thousands of SKUs, that's much easier to just copy and paste things. But that doesn't give AI any real understanding of a specific product, so you're less likely to get recommended. So every product needs its own unique description. Having multiple images of your products as well is also great, because the more images it gives AI more data points, because sometimes now people can upload an image and say, find me this product. So if you've only got one image and it doesn't match that, you're not going to get recommended. For variants and options is another one. So obviously this is depending on what type of product you sell, but having all your sizes, your colors, materials, all of that kind of stuff properly set up in Shopify so AI understands the full range of what you offer. This was a big one as well, your shop policies. So having a shipping policy, return, refund, terms of service, all those kind of things, they're kind of non-negotiables for agentic storefronts to show your products. So you need to make sure you've finalized those and cleaned those up. And then finally, as well, product reviews. So social proof from real users is going to be a huge factor for this. Kind of similar to top of funnel mentions, because this is essentially online word of mouth. This is social proof, really. It's just in a different way. But obviously, product reviews are proper social proof from customers. So you need to make sure that you get lots of reviews on your products if you can. Now, unique product descriptions are non-negotiable, because if you've just copy and pasted the same product description across hundreds of products, then that can hurt you in both Google and AI search, because AI tools cannot recommend something with confidence if the description is generic or duplicated across your site and there's nothing really taking this product different, showing that this product is different from another product. And so what a complete description does is it gives AI a specific, unique language that to match against buyer queries. Signals to Shopify complete the score thing in the agentic backends that this product is ready and eligible for AI channels. Differentiates your product from competitors selling the similar items. Provides context to AI to recommend your product with confidence, and ultimately it supports traditional SEO at the same time. So unique descriptions on all your products is super crucial. Obviously, if you do this from the get-go, it's going to be much better. So if you can avoid just duplicating product pages or duplicating descriptions when you're dropping new products and putting new products on your store, that's going to be much more beneficial. But the other thing as well is product reviews. And so this is going to be one of the bigger AI ranking factors, I reckon, because it's social proof. This is what AI is built on. It's built on making sure that the brands that it's recommending has actual customers behind it and has actual mentions online. And so getting product reviews is going to be a big thing. It also helps you with traditional SEO. Obviously, that's one thing that we want to push. But in AI search, a product with 500 reviews is almost going to show up more often than a product with 5 reviews if everything else is the same. So it's a big thing that you should be doing. Make sure you have, some post follow-up sequence or something like that to get product reviews. And then that's just going to compound over time and help you get more recommendations in AI. So this is a big one here, topical authority through middle of funnel content. So AI tools reference middle of funnel content heavily when they make product recommendations, and a lot of listicles as well. So when someone asks ChatGPT, what's the best weightlifting belt for powerlifting, then AI is looking at blog posts and listicles and product roundups and Reddit and all these other things where there are social proof or comparisons of these products to see which ones are being mentioned the most. So if you can get yourself mentioned in a bunch of listicles or a bunch of products for those type of keywords, then you're going to have much more you're going to have a much better chance to show up in AI search. And so the things we look for: best products for X use case, X versus Y, which is better, and top picks for category, for X category. A lot of this, we'll do some of this on your site, and we've got some good results from that as well, which I'll pop up here. But the best way to do this is actually, seek out listicles online and get your products mentioned in those. Because the more, if you're mentioning your own product, that doesn't really show confidence to ChatGPT because you're the one talking about it. You want other brands, other websites, other people to mention your product and mention your brand online. That's going to give you much more authority and much more likely to recommend for AI to recommend you as well. And that's where third-party mentions and digital PR, link building, that's where it all comes in, because you want to make sure that your brand is mentioned across the internet, not just on your website. So you can do all these things on your website, but if it's not got mentions on other websites, you're not getting good quality links, you're not mentioned in Reddit forums and other things like that, you're not going to get recommended by AI. And so making sure that you can actually do this properly and get your brand and your products mentioned in all these things is going to be a huge factor for getting your brand showing up in AI search results. So AI search is real and it is growing, but it's still very early. And so even though we're getting some great results for some brands, like the one I showed you earlier, that's only a small portion of that overall brand revenue. And so it's got a long way to go before it replaces, if it ever does, traditional Google search. So the honest thing really is it has a lot of limitations as well. So I don't know if you've done this yourself, but if you search in ChatGPT for these products, sometimes it'll take you to a 404 page, or the product that it recommends, the page isn't there anymore, the website doesn't exist. And so product data is still being structured, and the experience is far from perfect. And so it's not, the be all and end all, right? And so the traffic reality is Google is still driving the vast majority of organic e-commerce revenue and traffic. AI search, as I said, is just a tiny fraction of that at the moment. But obviously, if you can get onto that early, then you're going to set yourself up for success in the future. And so there's nothing to panic about right now, but it is something that if you jump on now and start to, think about it, as I said, doing SEO in essence is going to help you do that. But you just need to do a few other tweaks to make sure that you get into AI search more frequently. And so the work you do today is just going to continue to compound moving forward. So anyone that sells you AI SEO, AEO, GEO separately or as a completely separate service, then I would just have a little think about that and see if it's actually worthwhile, because in my opinion, that it's not needing to be a separate service. It's the same thing. And so because of that, the right approach is you do both at the same time, really. You keep doing the SEO fundamentals, you add your AI specific layer on top, so your product data and making sure you're getting mentioned in all these listicles and other things like that. And then you watch the two channels reinforce each other, and you start to make more sales from ChatGPT and, more importantly, from Google search, because that's where most of your revenue is going to come from. So this is your kind of complete AI search checklist. I'll let you pause the video here if you want to have a look at this here. But if you follow all of these, then this is going to get your brand mentioned in AI search much more often and actually make you more money from AI search, more importantly. But the thing to take away from all this is the brands that show up have complete product listings, quality content, real reviews, authority built across the web, essentially SEO fundamentals, maybe just a little bit more sprinkled on top to make sure that you're showing up in AI search. And the brands that don't get recommended, they have duplicate descriptions, no reviews, no policies, no content strategy, invisible in Google, and therefore invisible in AI search. So the opportunity right now, it's very early for all of this. So if you can make sure that you start to build your SEO fundamentals, you start to sprinkle on top some AI search as well, then you're going to be very successful in the future, especially if you have a very searched for product. So if you want help getting your brand mentioned in AI search, but also in Google as well, I do e-commerce SEO purely for Shopify brands. Click the first link in the description below and you can work with me there, or have a look at what we can do for your brand. Hopefully you enjoyed. See you on the next one.